Welcome to Sundry Sports for Thursday, July 2nd. Cowboys Wire, brought to you by USA Today, has top stories. Cowboys news. More help needed, but Lamb may be best CFB wide receiver in 6 years. One thing is for sure in 2020 when it comes to the NFL, and it is that absolutely nothing is for sure. Lovely. All right, we'll look at this. The COVID-19 pandemic panic continues to play a significant role in preparations for the Dallas Cowboys and every other NFL team as the calendar turns to July. Despite the differences in opinions on whether or not there will be a season at all, the Cowboys media has still had some fun and have gotten quite creative at times. John Machota of The Athletic went head-to-head with a fellow writer and drafted his all-Cowboys team. Des Bryant found himself on one of their fantasy teams, but will he find himself on an actual roster come training camp? Jay Glazer has ultimately been quite complimentary when it comes to new head coach Mike McCarthy, but this global panic has been quite unfair for his first-year plans. Should the Cowboys add one more wide receiver in addition to their 3 stars? Ultimate all-time Dallas Cowboys rosters. John Machota breaks down his draft. The 2-man draft continues over at The Athletic, with John Machota's final roster being revealed. 2 Cowboys from the current iteration of the team make an appearance here, though both serving as backups to Hall of Fame players ahead of them. Boring. Free agent wide receivers the Cowboys could add to its roster to complement Cooper, Gallup, and Lamb. The pass offense in Dallas is sure to be a strength, but it never hurts to upgrade. In this instance, a look at available wide receivers who could come in to provide skill and experience as the number 4 option for quarterback Dak Prescott. Tweet from RJ Ochoa. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup posted this on his Instagram story. It appears that a merchandise line is on the way. Okay, cool. PFF College names CeeDee Lamb most valuable receiver since 2014. Most valuable college receiver since 2014 per PFF wins above average. CeeDee Lamb, Oklahoma. Okay. That's some strong company over the last 5 college seasons. Still hard to believe the NFL allowed the Cowboys to draft him. Ex-Cowboys wide receiver Des Bryant, hopeful for 2020 NFL season. I need my redemption. The former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver has constantly reminded us on his social media that he's putting in the work in the offseason. Will this work land him on a team for 2020? Bryant is more concerned that there will be a 2020. So, we're questioning if we need another wide receiver. And Des Bryant just happens to be available. Yeah, I know, we'd never be able to pay him what he wants. Jay Glazer sees challenges for Cowboys to adjust to a new culture with abnormal offseason. COVID-19 has altered all sports and their current or potential seasons. The panic has thrown plenty of wrenches into the mix while the Cowboys are working with an entirely new coaching staff. Jay Glazer breaks down how this is concerning for the Cowboys in particular. You know how you can deal with changes from a big old panic? Just stop panicking. I know it doesn't really say panic, but no, it really does. Dallas Cowboys. Depth is key if coronavirus makes 20 a war of attrition. For all 32 NFL teams this year, focusing in on having depth is a major key for success during a panic-riddled season. Questions for the Dallas Cowboys of if they could survive a few games without some of their biggest stars are brought to the forefront. Game theory. 3 players who deserve new contracts. NFL.com's Cynthia Freeland ranks Dak Prescott's situation as the 3rd highest ranked player that deserves a new contract. She claims that the signed franchise tag is a reason it doesn't rank higher. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, last season, he played well. I don't see that makes up for the crappy play of the 2 seasons before that. Plus, we still can't seem to get into the playoffs, let alone very far in the playoffs. Not even his rookie year, which was, in my opinion, his best. I just don't get it. Tyler Biadaz? Badass? Biadaz? Won't be the next Travis Frederick right away, if ever. There may be some unfair expectations for the fourth-round pick of the 2020 draft. A new coaching staff and the potential expectations to be thrown in to start right away could alter the plan of success for Tyler Badass. Hopefully Tyler Badass. From Blogging the Boys, Kai Forbath is staying ready. Boom. That's nice to see. Beautiful. Report. NFL has discussed trimming training camp rosters to 75 to 80 players. As the calendar turns to July, more uncertainties present themselves as training camp is set to begin at the end of the month. Roster sizes, along with game day numbers, could be in for a change, but time will tell. Don't change. Going back. GRN. Any two 1,500 milligram broad spectrum tinctures for $87 plus free hand sanitizer and free shipping. Shop now from Gurn. 2 1,500 milligram for $87. That seems like a very high price. Cowboys lose 2 preseason games to COVID-19. NFL alters schedule. Teams around the NFL had to figure that things were going to be disrupted. They just weren't sure how. Are those 2 in addition to the Hall of Fame game, or are we counting the Hall of Fame game as one preseason game? Teams around the NFL had to figure that things were going to be disrupted. They just weren't sure how. On Wednesday, the league announced their first cuts to the slate of games, targeting the exhibition schedule in an effort to reduce exposure and buy more time during the global panic. The coronavirus has already impacted the Dallas Cowboys schedule, with Ohio canceling the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, that would have kicked off the preseason. Now the league has shrunk the 4-week exhibition schedule to just 2 games. Week 1 and Week 4 will be the preseason weeks that are scrapped per source. So really, we've lost 3 games. For the Cowboys, that means that the opening of the new SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles against the Chargers is out, as well as the normally annual Governor's Cup matchup against the Houston Texans. Remaining, the Baltimore Ravens and Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Both of those, I guess those are good. Those are good ones to keep, I suppose. Both of those games were set to be home games, but the league appears to be trying to reconcile the split, making sure teams can appear in front of their fans. That is, if there will be fans. According to Pro Football Talk, the league will make sure each team gets 1 home and 1 away game. There has been a want to reduce the exhibition schedule from 4 to 2 games for a while now, and it appears the panic has afforded the NFL the opportunity. Oh, how bully for them. Good for them. Major League Baseball is using their shortened season as cover to implement many of their various rule changes that had been bandied about for years. The National League will now have a DH and the league DH. The league is going to place a runner on second base each half inning if the game goes beyond 9 frames. The NFL has long considered shrinking the preseason in order to get more regular season games on the table, so it would not be surprising if this temporary move becomes permanent. What other changes could be on the way remains to be seen. Okay, well, kind of bullshit that both us and the Steelers, lose 3 games instead of 2. Boo. But the Ravens and the Chiefs are very good ones to keep. So there's that. Cowboys news, cooling the clowny chatter. This is what I read yesterday. Prescott, not Cowboys' vaunted O-line, responsible for big play development. No, it's a little of both. Because if we don't have a good O-line, then Prescott can't do shit. He's not exactly known for getting the ball out quickly. So, no, it's both. Inserting the Dallas Cowboys offensive line into any conversation about dominant positional groups has been a constant for years. That designation still stands, but you're just trying to make Prescott sound more valuable than he really is. No, he wouldn't be able to do anything if he was behind a shit offensive line. Brad's Deals, up to 80% off every day. Spring clearance sales. Shop now. Dallas Cowboys face masks. Oh, who could forget that there are Dallas Cowboys face masks? You're telling us every fucking day. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff we've already read. What Texas? Yes. Texas Rangers face mask. What? Okay. That's it for Cowboys Wire. Moving on to the ESPN Daily. Good morning! You want me to start with the good news or the bad news? Bad it is. We're halfway through 2020 and the first 2 quarters were abysmal. The good news is that there's plenty of year left to make some adjustments. Yeah, well, people's panic doesn't seem to be letting up. So, that's looking more and more abysmal as well. If the Patriots can come back from down 28-3 in Super Bowl 51 and the Cavs can overcome a 3-1 deficit in the NBA Finals, why not us? Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. Keys to the NBA restart. Oh, how about people finding some balls? You know, digging deep, dragging up their balls, and actually doing their jobs. Huh? How about that? As NBA rosters take shape, the league and its players inch closer to a restart in the clean site of Orlando, Florida. The NBA is addressing players' concerns regarding recent movement against racial and police injustice by painting Black Lives Matter on the courts. Oh, placation, appeasement. That's good to see. Appeasement always goes well. And many players are expected to kneel during the, by the way, appeasement does not always go well. Just look at World War II. Many players are expected to kneel during the national anthem. Oh my goodness. As the league finalizes its coronavirus testing protocol and rules for players participating in the bubble, Pablo Torre joins today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast to break down team strengths and the uncertainty around keeping the clean site clean. Then Torre and Mina Kimes share some exciting news about the future of the podcast. Things to care about. Offensive linemen turned barbecue pitmasters. I've lived enough life to know that grilling is tricky business, and grill masters are particular people. I've also been around enough offensive linemen. Shout out to my older brother and O-line nights in my parents' basement. Okay? To know that there is often a correlation between lineman culture, in which there is, as former Cleveland Browns offensive tackle Joe Thomas puts it, a love for good food and love for cooking. As a result, it comes as little surprise to me that many NFL linemen have turned their attention to the grilling game. As soon as I started cooking and actually making good stuff, I fell in love with it, and now my love of cooking and eating are in parallel universes, Thomas said. Former offensive tackle George Foster echoed that sentiment, saying, "It's therapeutic. Nobody bothers you. It's just me, my music, and the grill." As for former New York Jets Pro Bowl center Nick Mangold, he turned his passion for barbecue into a business. Mangold now owns 74 barbecue sauce, that's the name of the sauce, okay, which sells authentic small batch sauces that he makes himself. Last but certainly not least is self-taught grill master Ryan Jensen, who currently plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jensen explained, "My love of food began at an early age. I started watching the Food Network at an early age. Used to be my go-to after The Price is Right during the summer." If that isn't relatable, I don't know what is. Linemen, they're just like us. Grading the QB class of 2018. 2018. Do you remember getting progress reports in school? The amount I emphasized or downplayed their importance varied greatly depending on how I fared in the aforementioned reports. If my teacher reviewed me favorably, my parents were sure to be met with a spiel along the lines of, "This is monumental. I am on the fast track to an A and deserve to be rewarded for my unyielding efforts." On the other hand, if my review was subpar, I dismissed and denounced it in record time. I guess what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way is feel free to take these quarterback progress reports whichever way you please. You might like what Bill Barnwell has to say about your guy. Then again, you might not. But at least you can get a sense of where he stands heading into the 2020 season without further 2020 season. Without further ado, here are progress reports on the quarterbacks drafted in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. Oh, except for Josh Rosen, mad disrespect, and Sam Darnold, since his report doesn't drop until Friday. Okay? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. Things to watch. Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Cool. Bring on the meat, bring on the buns, and bring on the stomach stretching. It's a thing. Because it's time to lock in on a 4th of July tradition unlike any other. An Independence Day tradition unlike any other. When? Noon Eastern Time, July 4th on ESPN. Where? A private location to meet COVID-19 precautions. Who to watch? Joey Chestnut. He is going for a record 13th title in the men's competition. Who else? Mickey Sudo. She's trying for a 7th title in the women's contest. Something to watch to get your mind right for the big event. ESPN's 30 for 30 documentary on Chestnut and his foot-long time rivalry. Oh, you're trying to be clever there? With Takeru Kobayashi. Moore accomplishes goal of justice for Irons. Maya Moore's quest to see Jonathan Irons walk free was realized on Wednesday. Moore, who put her WNBA career with the Minnesota Lynx on hold in 2019 to help Irons fight to have his conviction for burglary and assault overturned, was among those greeting him outside the prison when he was released. Moore dropped to her knees before joining a group hug around Irons. "I feel like I can live life now," Irons said, thanking Moore and her family. "I'm free. I'm blessed. I just want to live my life worthy of God's help and influence." Okay. Overheard. I feel like at the end of the day, this is going to be the toughest championship you could ever win, because the circumstances are really, really tough right now. So whoever wants it more is going to be able to go out there and take it. Giannis Antetokounmpo on if there should be an asterisk next to this year's champion. I think that it depends on your point of view whether you think it's going to be tougher or not. Remember when? Tomorrow marks the 18th anniversary of Like Mike hitting theaters. On July 3rd, 2002, we were introduced to Calvin Bow Wow, an orphan with aspirations of playing in the NBA, despite having unprecedented amounts of swag. Calvin lacked size and skill on the basketball court, until he stumbled upon a pair of sneakers that had belonged to Michael Jordan, that is. The film taught us an important life lesson, that with kindness, dedication, and magic sneakers, all things are possible. Okay. Until next time, remember, because I can't have you thinking you're getting ghosted by the daily heads up that this is the last you'll hear from me this week, it's not you, it's the holiday. May your 4th of July weekend, may your Independence Day weekend be filled with all the socially distanced fun you can handle. This has been your ESPN Daily for Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. And that's all for Sundry Sports. Thank you and goodbye.